I started the recording. I don't know, already I started, but I don't know why it stopped. Okay. See. First step, we install Windows 2003 OS. After that, I configure TCP IP and then local file entry. I show you again so that it can be in the recordings. After Windows 2003 installation, TCP IP settings, my network places, right click, properties. I'm sorry? Cannot see the screen. Yeah, okay. I started the recording, that's why. Yes. I shared my desktop. I'm showing the TCP IP configuration. From the server, my network places, right click properties. Local area connection, right click properties. TCP IP, click on properties tab. So here we can set the IP address 192.168.100.5. Because as I'm accessing the system remotely, I have to set up the IP, otherwise I can't access remotely the system. I set up the IP as 192.168.100.5 and the subnet mask is /C subnet mask. And default gateway and DNS is given because the system, from this system we can access the internet. It is not mandatory, default gateway and the DNS settings. And after that, I configure the local host entry. Go to Start, Run, Drivers. Open the etc folder from etc host file. Open with Notepad and specify your host entry, IP address, space, host name. Save the settings and then start the Java installation from your software dump. I started the Java installation. So you can see the computer memory and my computer right click properties. It is 1 GB of RAM is there. So for ECC 5.0 minimum 1 GB is required. 1 GB is the least memory requirement. You must have more than 2 GB. So we are installing on a server for training purpose. So 1 GB is sufficient to complete the installation. Should not take this much of time. So this will be continuing. Shall we configure the next point? The next point is so here it is not written. The next point is alright. After throw 3 point, the next step is configure virtual memory. Configure virtual memory. This is still in progress. I'm configuring virtual memory. I'm sorry? Yes. Yes. Java platform, Java 2 platform. Yes, runtime environment. No, runtime environment. Because no, it is this setup is integrated. It includes Java 2 platform, standard edition of version 1.2 and IDE. So let me configure the virtual memory, slot memory, my computer icon, right click properties, advanced. You can see the performance tab settings. In the settings advanced, you can see virtual memory change. For C it is 15. Let me take to 2000 and 3000. Okay, set. And for E drive also I will specify the virtual memory. I'll set up the virtual memory for C and E drive, because E drive will have the SAP installed on E drive. C drive is for OS. Shall I stop and start it again? Java, because this should not take time. See, CPU utilization is 0. Let me stop and start it again. Next, accept, next. Okay, I will delete that and program files. Okay. Yes, installation of Java is done. And after installing Java, you have to set the Java environment variables. So I'm removing the previous folder. Okay, this is my Java directory. Setting up of Java environment variables, go to my computer, right click properties, advanced. You can see the environment variables tab. Create, in the user variables for administration, new Java home. This is my Java home path. I'm sorry. Here is my Java home. And in the system variable, go to path variable, edit, append the same home path /bin. It is for Java executables path. this will be the bin. Sorry. Go to properties, advanced, environment variables, path, edit. I'm removing the previous path. I'm copying now. Bin directory path. Yes, this is the Java executable path. This will be the Java home. This will be the Java home. Edit. I'll specify both the path. Okay. Installation of Java and setting up of environment variables. See, install Java software and set the environment variables. Next step is installing the Oracle. You can see the Oracle dump. From the Oracle dump, disk 1, it is 9, Oracle 9 will have three CDs. That's why disk 1, disk 2, disk 3. I'm starting the Oracle from the disk 1. If you have a setup file for Oracle SAP server.cmd, or you can start from setup.exe. I'm starting from SAP server.cmd. Here you can see. See, home Aura home 92 and other settings are already defined in this file. Right click, batch file this is. You can see the default path and these settings parameters are already defined in the SAP server.cmd batch file. You can directly execute this batch file to start the Oracle installation, or you can start the setup file. Just keep on next. Do you want to create the database, or you don't want to create the database? Anyway, SAP will create the database. I'm just clicking on no because I don't want to create any database. It will be created during the SAP database instance. Next. Install. You can create the database, but it's optional. Either you create or not. Anyway, during the SAP database instance, the database will be created by SAP components. That is why I clicked on no. You can click on yes, but that will be the separate database. You can create more than one database in the RDBMS, am I right? So this will be taking 15 minutes to 20 minutes of time to complete the Oracle setup file in the Unix, in the Windows environment. So I'll try to give remote login for this server so that you can stop and start the SAP services and you can work on some parameters directly. I'll provide tomorrow this because after completing the SAP installation, because we need a public IP instead of private IP. You can't access directly with private IP. 192 series you can't access, I guess. So this is a private IP. I'll ask them to provide a public IP for this computer. So this is CD1 and it is asking for CD2. So we will be starting from the first installation and all the concepts we will discuss from this installation. We have very limited servers. So there was a BIW server set up in this system. So I removed that BIW server because classes are not going on. There is no session for another 10 to 15 days for BIW. That's why we can utilize this system. So when it starts BIW session, then I'll set up the BIW system for them and they can use this system. See, in the meanwhile, let me show you. So Oracle folder has been created just now because during the Oracle installation, Oracle folder will be created. Go to my computer, right click manage. See my local users and groups. In the local users, you can see only administrator account. But after SAP installation, you can find 2 more user accounts. Because during the SAP installation, SAP will create 2 more accounts. One is service account, the other one is SAP admin account. But I just want to show you that those 2 accounts will be created automatically. We will not be creating manually. And also SAP groups are also created automatically. We won't be creating manually. We will initiate the installation and it will take some time to complete the setup. So tomorrow we can do the post installation steps. We'll start today and it will take 10 hours or 12 hours depending upon the system configuration. And after setting up of setup, SAP setup, installation setup, we will discuss the post installation activities. There are 10 to 12 steps to perform the post installation activities that we will do tomorrow after completing the installation. You have to click on perform typical configuration next. So if you start from setup.exe, that will take another 5 to 10 minutes to complete the setup because it is a SAP server.cmd. So this won't be doing much Oracle post installation activities. So my Oracle installation has been done as per the SAP setup. So now we have to install the Oracle patches. So before I go for installing Oracle patches, we have to start the Oracle services to complete the Oracle installation patch. You can see I'm stopping the Oracle services, Oracle Ora Home 92 agent service. And Oracle listener service. So 2 services were stopped. So after stopping the Oracle services, let me start the Oracle patch installation. Yes. No? From where? Now? Can you hear any background noise now?
Yeah, I hear. If it's not you, can everybody else like mute their microphone?
I'm not hearing any noise.
I'm hearing some conversation in the background. Yeah. Yeah, there were some slight conversations back, but I had muted my microphone. But I heard. Yeah, it's not much, but it's just just enough to get you a little bit distracted.
Okay, okay, can you check now? I mean, apart from my voice, can you hear any other voice?
Yeah, I mean it's there. If you're in a room, I mean maybe you can close the door.
Yeah, I closed my door. But there is one more session going on, I guess.
Okay, never mind. I mean
Oh,
it's
okay.
here. Yeah.
So I'm installing the Oracle patches. Yeah, there's one more session going on there. Okay, set up new next. So the Oracle home is Aura home 92. You have to define the Oracle home folder. Aura home 92. So it will set the path to Aura 92. So by default, this destination will not be there when you start the setup. So we have to manually type Aura home 92 because this is the name that we have given during the Oracle database installation. Next, install the setup. Yeah, you can hear some noise, I guess, now. There is a session going on in video conferencing, through video conferencing, I guess. Noise is coming from the other room. What I'll do is tomorrow I'll change my room. Okay. So now I'll restart this computer. I'm restarting this computer. So this will integrate all the Oracle services. See, during setup installation, Oracle 9.0 during setup installation, keep all the default options. Don't specify any options by our own, because during Oracle installation, based upon the database parameters, we keep on changing the options during Oracle installation. But for SAP, do not change any options except keep all the default options. And then install the Oracle patch and Oracle client software. So anyway, SAP will be installing Oracle client software. So this is, the server is rebooting now. Now, so let me start services.nfc file window. You can see Oracle is being started. Listener service is also started. So let me start SAP installation now. So we will start the SAP installation from the master CD. So every software dump will come with a master DVD. So you have to go to master DVD and SAP ERP 2004. So you can see I am one folder from here. First execute NT patch, that is r3dll-ins.exe from the dump. Here is the NT patch folder. So I'm clicking on r3dll-ins.exe. So you have to execute this. Just double click on that and say OK. After this, go to SAP NST, NT, i386. It is 32-bit operating system. If you have any 64-bit operating system, you can create IA64. So SAP NST.exe is the file that you're supposed to double click on this to start the SAP installation. Here, ERP 2004, ABAP system. See, software, I'm not sure if it is a Unicode or non-Unicode. Let me try with the Unicode. Install, first we have to install central instance. Install a central instance. Next, I'll share the sprint screen of these steps with you. Say OK. So it will log off when you start central instance installation. And you can log in again. After you log into the system, yeah.
Your screen is very slow. I'm still seeing SAP INC.exe. Trying to follow. Screen is very slow.
It is happening only with you or with the other server? Ravi, can you see that I logged off and after I log into the server, it started SAP window automatically? Okay. Yeah, I logged off during the SAP after I started the SAP Central instance, and I logged in again, and it has started automatically the window, SAP window. Did you see that? I can't hear, Bob. Your voice is very low. No. You should increase your volume.
I can see the SAP
Okay. Can you see the window SAP ABAP system, SID, instance number, instance host?
Yes, just now. But it's
Okay, I guess there should be some latency in the internet connection at your end.
the same thing with the meeting manager.
Mhm.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah, I can hear. Bob, you have any problem? Bob? Okay, Bob, you find any latency or slowness?
No, I didn't. I thought I was current.
So you can see all my changes on the screen.
Yeah, I thought I was. Yeah.
Okay. I guess, Elizabeth, I guess you have some issue with the internet. Yeah. Okay. Anyway, let me continue this because it takes a lot of time to complete these steps to start the SAP installation. So anyway, I'm going to share you the recordings with you. So in the recordings, you won't find any delay. So I'm giving PRD, not PRD this time, DEV, okay, PRD as my SID. I'm giving SAP SID as PRD. Instance number is 00. And the instance host is server. See here, it is not accepting the IP, it is accepting the host name. So if you have not specified the local host entry, then you will get an error message here in this screen because it has to resolve the server host name to IP address. Yes. DNS is a fully qualified domain name. It is only the network name. Yes, you have to do. Yes. Because this is not a fully qualified domain name. It is only a host name. Yeah, we have to. Okay, the next, when I click next, it is just giving a database parameter. The database SID will be same, TRD, and the database host will be the server. So if you have a different database host, then you have to mention a different database host here. You understand? Our database host is separate and the SAP application host will be separate. So both the hosts are same here. That's why I'm continuing with the same host.
So you're saying basically if you have another server that's having the database, you need that server.
Yes.
Like in one configuration. Okay.
Yes. You have to give it a separate host in here. Next. So I'm starting local installation. So I can continue installation in the domain environment. I can continue installation in any other domain. So I'm starting with the local installation. Next. See, installation drive will be the E drive, but C drive is a root drive. I don't want to set up installation files in the C drive because it's an operating system drive. So I want to store all the SAP information in the E drive. So select the installation drive as E and then say next. So you can make a note of this. Database instance parameter, database ID is PRD, database schema is SAP PRD. Database schema will be SAP PRD. Not database schema. Database schema will be different. Every database will have the database schema. Schema SID parameter is different. Schema means it defines the structure of the objects in the Oracle. So database schema, I'm doing the Oracle installation 9i for ECC 5.0 ABAP system. Am I right? For ABAP system, the database schema will be SAP PRD. This is my home drive. I'm sorry? No, it can't be. Yeah, it has to be different. So shall I go for next?
So you install Oracle, which is installing the RDBMS system itself.
Yeah.
Now you completed that step, but right here, you're kind of specifying this is what I want as the database. You don't have to create the actual database beforehand. It was created for you, right?
Yes.
But
No,
actually,
it is not started. It has not started creating the database. I'm just giving the parameters of the RDBMS. Suppose if you have already existed the RDBMS in your environment, you have to specify your database schema, isn't it?
oh, okay. So it's kind of like you were just getting the details, right? What I
Yes, details. Here I started with SAP server.cmd. So that's why it has taken by default SAP PRD. So this is this Oracle is for database. This Oracle is for SAP. Yeah. Okay. So here system OS user parameters. A user account will be created. That is SAP system administrator account will be created. So I'm specifying the password for administrator account. I'm just specifying I will select uppercase ABC, lowercase ABC 11. ABC 11. Uppercase letters, lowercase letters and 11. Password. And this is a service administrator account. I'll keep the same password. Next. Okay, here I have the dump for Unicode or non-Unicode. I'm not sure. I started installation with Unicode. So let me select the package to include the Unicode in, files. Click. So here you have to click this location. Click that location will be hidden by default. Click here and go to E drive, dump. In the dump, you will find out a kernel DVD, kernel path. In the kernel, label.asc. You can see here, a relevant software package or installation city has to be checked for the installation. Enter the location of label.asc in the package location column and select the option check location. So from the kernel folder, I selected label.asc. Okay. If I click OK, then if it is a Unicode software, then it will accept. If it is not, if it is a non-Unicode, then it will throw an error message. So it is a non-Unicode. So I have to come from the beginning. Stop. Master DVD, SAP, INST, NT, I386, SAP INST.exe. I'm starting it again. I'm starting from the non-Unicode central instance. Okay, the PRD, SID will be the PRD. Next. Database host and database ID will remain same. Next. Local installation. Next. Installation drive E. Next. Just remain same. Next. See, SAP schema, database schema for Java installation is different from ABAP installation. The name will be different. ABC11, ABC11. Yeah, I'm starting for non-Unicode installation. The software is Unicode based. ABC11. Sorry. ABC11. ABC. Because we earlier installation, I selected Unicode option. That's why the software is not a Unicode. It is a non-Unicode. Kernel is non-Unicode. That's why I'm starting it again. You can see this. Okay, click on this here. Click this location. E drive. In the kernel, select label.asc. Click OK. So this time you won't get any error message because I started the installation with non-Unicode. Next, see a message server port by default is 3600 plus instance number. My instance number is 00. That's why my port is 3600. The gateway port is 3300. Dispatcher port is 3200. Next. These are the default settings. You need not to change any settings here. Because I'm starting first time installation, so I have to set up the central instance. So IGS folder path, let's see, IGS soft, IGS folder, IGS, IGS soft. So in the IGS soft, select label.asc. Okay, everything you can find in the software DOM, all the locations. So I'm just continuing with this central instance. This won't take much time, central instance. The database instance will take time. So before that, I have to install the central services. I'm installing the central services here. So creating accounts at OS level. You can see all the accounts and groups will be created in the central instance. After creating these accounts and groups, it will start running all these services. So if there is any power failure or if anyone shut down the computer or our SAP installation will interrupt. So in this 10 to 12 hours, nobody should touch the server.
So somewhere in here, the database is also being created.
No, this is central services. I'm just
Step will not take too much time.
yes, it takes only 10 or 15 minutes because I'm just installing the central services.
How is it in the SAP? I mean, I'm probably jumping ahead here, but your next step is to create the
Database.
database instance and
Yeah.
then populate it with the data.
Yeah.
So central instance and central service the same.
Yes, same. Central instance will have all the central services. So SAP installation is two things. One is installation of services. The second one is installation of the database. Installation of database means creating the database, creating the table spaces in the database, loading the database content. So central instance means creating the local accounts, creating the local groups, and installing the central services. So it is slowly doing all the activities.
So whenever we do SAP install, I mean, I'm kind of going back to this Unicode unlisted
Okay.
trying to be clear.
Depends on the software.
Depends on what software, SAP software.
Yeah, SAP software. See, SAP kernel is of two types: Unicode kernel, non-Unicode kernel. In every platform, in Unix platform also there are two softwares: Unicode software and non-Unicode software.
Okay, how would you make a choice?
Means during the license, during the purchase time, you will choose you need a Unicode or non-Unicode.
What is this Unicode and non-Unicode?
Yeah, I'll share with you. It is a you know it defines the character set in the SAP.
Oh, like in the SQL, similar to the SQL database,
Yeah.
Unicode characters.
Yes, non-Unicode. It defines the character set. I'll share the database, the document with you about Unicode and non-Unicode differences. Can you guys, can you send a test mail about this to my ID? You can see you can see the ID from my desktop, my email ID. Just send a test mail from your mail ID so that I can forward you the document with you. I don't think so. I may have that document here. I'll just find out the difference between these two from the SAP Marketplace, and I'll share with you.
What do you do in the, like in your experience?
No, it depends. Non-Unicode is the mostly we use yes than Unicode. Okay. So central instance has been completed. Now again I'll start SAP nst.exe to start the database instance. So first time when you start installation, you should start with the central instance. If suppose you have already set up a central instance and database instance, and you want to just go on, you want to continue with additional instance, just like if I have more number of users, I just want to provide one more application server for them. So after that, you can go for a database instance, dialog instance. For them, if you want to install a add-on server, then you need to have dialog instance. You can see here, for dialog instance, you must have already completed the steps in installed central instance and installed a database instance to continue the dialog instance. So I'm not continuing the dialog instance here because I want to continue the database instance first. See, install a database instance to complete the installation. You can perform this step on the central instance host or a standalone database instance home. You must have already completed the step central instance for this. So I already completed the central instance now, and now I'm starting the database instance. So next is to continue the database installation. So this is going to take time for about more than 10 hours. The SID for my SAP system is PRD. Next. So it is a standard installation. I don't have any standard system copy, or I don't have any other copy in this system. That's why I want to start from the standard installation. That's why I selected standard installation. Next. So I want to create a new database for the first time SAP installation. Next. So here are my database IDs. Next. Just you need to confirm that. If you have any other IDs, you can modify it. Instance number and the instance host here. Local installation. Next. You can see my desktop. I'm just keep on clicking on next because I'm not changing any parameters on the screen. Click next. So you can see the drive for server directories is E. Reader log files E. So everything is E because the SAP installation drive is E drive. Next. So the redo log file archives will be placed on the same drive as the directory SAP backup SAP reorganization. In a production system, this should never be the case because log files has to be separately mounted on separate drives. So I'm just continuing with the same password because you have to specify the same password. SAP administrator account. This is to log into the host with these IDs and you can do administration. Host based SAP parameter changes and SMA, backup and restore. Those changes you can do from logging into the SAP admin account. The kernel location, again, it will be same. Go to kernel folder and select label.asc. Okay. You should check you must have sufficient space, free space to start the installation. Next. Next. Okay, next. So these are the log files and mirror log files. Path will be same here. So this should not be the same case in the production server. You have to specify the separate mount point. Here is the export location, export directory location. 1 by 8 means there are 8 export locations. Out of 8, we have to specify the first location of the export package location. You will get all the export directories from the DVD. So DB export 1, from here go to export 1. Click OK. In the same way, export 2, export 3 to export 8, all these locations has to be specified further during the installation. So SAP data 1, the required size is this. This 96 GB is required for SAP data 1. This SAP database. This is only to complete the installation, but further if you want to save any data, then you require more. These are the default settings. So for training, we will go with, we won't have much free space here because we are not going to save any database, any content in the database. See here, location export 2 to 8, you have to specify here. Package location 2, export 2, and next export 3, export 4, export 5, export 6, export 7, export 8. See once again 2, 3 to 8. Okay. Yes, I'm sorry. Okay. Start with the set up next. See, error. An error occurred during the installation components. Okay. You can see the log file to check the error. Export 4. Export 4/data does not exist. The dump is not. Yes. Hey, I'm missing a data folder in the 4 export 4. Oh, let me check this from any other source. Guys, my dump is not complete. I mean, I'm missing some files. Some fifth big data is not there. Data is not there. I'm sorry, this is incomplete dump software dump. I have to copy it again. Okay. Anyway, database instance, I'll start it again with the again I'll copy the actual correct dump. I guess I copied the wrong dump because I'm not finding the data folder in the export 4. I guess this is I'm missing the data folder from this export location.
Can you show us your email address also?
Yes, here. Here is my email address. I request do not send any attachments. Just send me the mail content because from this company, no, the mailing to outside with attachments is prohibited.
Where is your email? We
I'm sorry.
cannot see your email.
No, it is on on my screen. I wrote my email.
You have the info, the ECC file.
I minimized that screen. Ravi, can you see that my email ID?
Yeah, I see that.
Oh, I guess.
I think it's probably you just have to wait a little bit.
Yeah.
Wait to refresh.
Okay.
Also, Vijay, the last week recordings, we need to get that link so we can download it.
Hey, you just send me that mail. I'll forward you that mail to support team. I just want a test mail from three of you so that I can just make I'll just make a note of your mail IDs. Elizabeth, can you see my mail ID? No. Okay, can you send a test message from the Skype? I'll forward you the mail.
Okay, I found it. I can see that.
Okay. It is VIJAY bhashar_telkar@adp.com. Hey, I'll continue tomorrow because I guess I have to copy the software dump again to start the database instance. Yes, Bob.
So all of the database management will be done through SAP.
Yes.
I noticed that you didn't set up a sys or system user ID.
No, those passwords will be prompted during the database instance, but I'm getting an error message to continue that.
Okay. And also, I don't remember seeing the Oracle Enterprise Manager installed. Are there other SAP features that are needed to use to manage indexes and tables and table space for Oracle?
Yeah, that will be installed during the database instance.
Okay.
Uh,
Is it an Oracle piece or is it an SAP piece? Or I'll see that. I'll see that when you do the install.
no, we do installation from SAP.
Okay.
So Oracle is just to install Oracle software, and SAP software will connect to the Oracle RDBMS, and then it continue the installation.
Okay.
There are interfaces in the background from SAP application system to the Oracle RDBMS. Okay.
All of the management of the database will be done through SAP.
I'll share with you that information.
Okay.
Okay. I'll show you. After just I will during the installation what you will find out during the installation. You can see the screen with all those setup. Database instance installation screen will have all the options that what exactly it is installing the components.
Because I'm thinking here as a basis administrator,
Uh-huh.
and you need additional space for the database.
Yep.
You would have to do that through SAP, correct?
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
You should add.
Yeah, from SAP, from SAP we will increase the table space.
Okay.
The size has to be increased. So through SAP. The database administration completely from SAP.
Okay. Good deal.
Yeah, because the table spaces will be created from SAP, not from the Oracle.
That's horrible.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. Okay, we'll continue tomorrow because I'll copy now. I'll ask them to. I don't think so I can find anyone. Anyway, I'll copy the software dump again. I mean that the dump that they copied in that server is a wrong dump. I mean it is not a correct software dump. I'm missing some data. Yes, Ravi. Mm-hmm. SQL is very simple compared to Oracle. Yes, it's the same process. It's the same process. During the data SAP installation, I'm not talking about Oracle or I'm not talking about SQL. There is a database. There is some RDBMS. It can be SQL, DB2 or Oracle. Anything. I'm not specifying anywhere from the SAP Oracle. The word Oracle is not, you can't see from the database installation. It is a database, SAP database, SAP either DBMax or SAP DB2 or SQL or Oracle, anything. He won't specify that in the database during the SAP installation.
All you do is like specify where the host,
Yes,
database.
yes, exactly. Yes.
And you have to give the user ID password also, so then I can then create the database.
Yes, I will show you that. That you have to specify the user ID.
User ID password. Right.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yep, that's what I done.
Yeah. We have to specify the password for all the default user IDs.
No, I'm not talking about the default user IDs. I'm talking about the user ID to connect to the database instance. Like if you have
No separate IDs has to be created. SAP will create the default user IDs by default. It's about 10 or 12 user IDs will be created during the database instance, and we are supposed to give all the passwords for these user IDs.
well, I don't know. I guess I work with some systems. It looks like it might be a little different. Like I mean,
Yeah.
you must have seen a Mind server, the database. When
Uh-huh.
you are installing the software,
Uh-huh.
basically what I have seen is like you're installing the software,
Uh-huh.
you let's say it's SQL Server. You put it
Okay.
on the SQL Server,
Yes.
put it on the database
Database, and we specify the user ID and password.
password, and then what the program will do for you is it will populate the database automatically.
Yes.
In the SQL world, you need the SAID and password,
Yes.
and then say this is the password. This is like that is like a shell database. It's an empty database. Just set it up,
Yeah.
and the software will create the tables, populate the tables, everything for you.
No, that will be automated in SAP. Okay. Anyway, we'll see further. Once we complete the database instance, then we will come to know these details.
Okay, awesome.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you very much, BJ.
Yeah, you're welcome. Okay, we'll continue same time tomorrow. So my previous batch is not yet completed because they need some other concepts, and they said in the last moment, like they want me to cover solution manager and some part of other concepts. So I'm continuing for them this week also. Probably next week we can change our timings half an hour ahead, so that we can continue 1.5 hour session every day. Okay? I'm sorry? Yes, Bob? It's a monitoring system in the SAP environment. You can monitor all the SAP systems, means more than one SAP system from one system. It's a monitoring system installed in a separate host computer. From there, you will configure the uh, links to each and every SAP system, and you can monitor the users, you can monitor the system performance, you can monitor the storage performance, everything. Okay? Yeah. We'll see it tomorrow. We'll continue again. Okay? I'm sorry guys, because I didn't check the software dump. I thought of everything will be sent. Okay. I'll also ask them to copy again.
Thank you. Have a good night.
You're welcome. Bye. Good night.